the
man.
show.
Let's jump right into. There's some new music that came out this week. Let's jump right into the Flea Lord. Let's start there. Flea Lord, man. First off, let's talk about him. We haven't talked about him on the podcast yet. Before, what y'all thoughts on him? Flea Lord overall.
I like Flea Lord. He's a good guest feature. I can't say I've really listened to his solo albums that much, but whenever he pops up on like a Griselda song or something like that, he wrote into it that click. So it's always a good time.
Yeah,
Interesting voice.
I like his voice. I was gonna say that. I
Yeah,
like his voice.
he got some
But
good albums though, man. He had that one album, the In the Name of Prodigy.
Pray for the Evil Three.
He had Delgado. He had Pray for the Evil. So he had some good ones, man. What was the one with he had some real good ones. Melzy was really good with DJ Muggs.
see,
So
I catch like every other one of these albums. He drops a lot of music.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does drop some stuff, but I don't know if he's one of those. I mean, I don't know. He does drop albums.
Dog,
I like a
in
bunch of them.
2021 alone. Look, I'm looking at no right now.
Mask and
2021
Gloves
alone.
and Delgado.
You got Mask and Gloves, Delgado. You got the Ramelzy, Lord Mob, and Loyalty and Trust. All just in 2021 alone. That's a lot of albums, dog. That's a lot of
nice.
albums. He drops a lot of albums.
Good for him.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I can't. It's too much for me to catch.
Pray
every
for the
one.
Evil 3. Pray for the Evil 3 might be my favorite one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, he got some good ones, man.
I listened to the
Loyalty and
Pray for the
Trust.
last year.
Yeah. I like a bunch of these. So I can't say I heard every one of them though. He does have a lot more now that I'm looking at him.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
So-
But I like a lot of them. So I was excited about this.
yeah. I mean, so yeah, I like him. I like his voice, like Bryce was saying, but I do have an issue with people who drop so much music. I just personally, I'm like, I can't listen to all your music. I don't know I'm gonna remember all your songs if you drop 200 songs in a year. I don't know how to deal with that.
Okay, so what's the frequency you think people should drop music then?
Once a year?
No.
Mm.
We
No.
already talked about this, man. When we do our reviews, how many songs you put in your rotation. So if you drop, like my man Westside, when he drops albums, a bunch of those songs go into my rotation. So when your songs are good, you could release.
Yeah.
I don't see no kind of concern. I don't see why the frequency has any kind of bearing on that.
No, I know. I mean, that's clearly his strategy is to outwork people. I mean, that's what a lot of people's strategy, just to do a lot of work. Currency and a lot of these type of rappers. But to me, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's my fault. I don't know. I don't know. No one else feels that way. No one else gets over too much music.
No.
Okay, well then it's just me.
Well, I mean, when you say too much,
No,
like,
it's me too. I agreed with you on that topic.
what is too much? Like, you know what I'm saying? Some of these artists, they're not getting looks. So if they don't release, who gonna check for them? Who gonna go back to their old stuff? The new stuff is the marketing plan.
Do any of y'all use Spotify?
I use Tidal.
Tidal. Okay.
I use Tidal.
Okay. Does Tidal keep track of how many minutes you listen to music per year?
Somewhat.
I don't know.
So I know like YouTube's doing it now and iTunes doing it. So like for me, Spotify, I listen roughly to about, I think 72,000 minutes is what I averaged last year for music. If you look, I mean, that is a lot of music. I am constantly playing music. So for me, I look at the new release music every Friday. Like if an album's drop, I'm listening to the album. Sometimes I'll listen to the album twice in the same day. Just I want to hear like, hey, let me see if I pick up on something. If I like it better the second time than I did the first time. So an artist, I'll put like some of these artists are dropping. I think one like Russ. Russ was dropping one almost every other Friday. Chris Brown was dropping albums that had 40 to 50 tracks.
Oh yeah, no.
You had at one point, who was it? Who was doing the freestyles? was it is it Kane? Khan. Khan was dropping music every Friday. Vic Mensa was starting to drop music every month. So like you got all these rappers and artists now, they're like, hey, I don't have to wait for dropping an album. I can just drop a track every Friday. And for me, as someone who listens to music that much, I'd never feel overburdened because I'm like every Friday I'm looking forward. Oh, and I knew a new track's coming out. Let me pull up the list and I'm gonna play through it.
See, but this is my thing. I do think that people get hyped for new music.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's true. But I also feel like that also allows us to, we treat music like it's in one ear out the other really quickly. Like, yeah, like you know, it's like, oh, this is the new album. Listen to it like 3 times and then never go back to it. Or maybe listen to one song off of it. I think if you take time to make just a super great album that is super repeatable, that everyone wants to hear every song off of it.
So my question to that is this:
right.
So if you want an artist to release once a year, right? Are you taking also into account of features they do on other artist tracks? Does that count towards that total?
No, that's separate.
So it's completely separate.
Yeah, that's separate.
But wouldn't that still add to the total for the artist for what he's done that year?
No, a feature ain't the same as you dropping an album.
Not at all.
No. Yeah, it's not the same.
It's still music that will fall under. I mean, like then at that point we could just cancel out Drake's. I mean, half of his just discography.
Collab albums is different than.
No, I'm not talking about collabs. If you listen to Drake's music, a lot of times when he has features, Drake has like one verse on there, which is no different than him being in a feature for another artist. It's one, like he may put it under his album, but if he's only doing one verse and then he has 2 other features on that track, is that not the same thing as him featuring on someone else's track and having 2 other artists on there? What's the difference in that?
It's different because the name on the album is different, man. That's the difference. Like it's because when you feature on somebody else's stuff, right? Like, okay, so for me, I don't necessarily like I don't look for features, some people do this. Like when somebody has a feature, the idea is to get that fan base to listen to mine. So if somebody wants Drake on the album, okay, so you listen to the one Drake song on that person's album, maybe, and if you like the person, you'll continue to listen to the album. But that's not the same as Drake dropping an album with 20 songs on the album. That's not the same thing. It's just not.
But you just said though you don't want artists to drop a whole bunch of music. We'll do it like this: J. Cole, right? Would you consider Johnny P? Was it a Johnny P's Caddy?
Mm-hmm.
The one he did with Benny the Butcher?
Mm-hmm.
That song is perfectly split in half. It's first half is Benny, second half J. Cole.
I thought Benny had 2
Benny
verses,
only has one.
So regardless.
So it's split in half.
All right. Then that's fine.
The production for that was done by Dreamville. It's on Benny's.
But it's on Benny's album.
For me, just me, when it comes to something like that, we're talking about a case of it is half and half. It's not like it is Benny, J. Cole, and Benny for the whole song. It is a song perfectly split in half. I don't look at it as, even if it's on Benny's album.
And many J. Cole fans look at it like that. That's okay. This is
I'm giving you one artist. I'm not giving you a separate argument. The argument was artists that feature if we're talking for a total year, artists featuring on other artists' albums or tracks or whatever they want to release. Does that not add up for that one artist? Regardless of, he puts, like I said, we're talking about an artist. He puts out an album. J. Cole put out an album of, we'll say 12 tracks, or Kendrick put out an album of 12 tracks, or Drake puts out an album of probably 24 to 26 tracks. We just know that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
If the artist isn't a majority on the track, it's no different than him being a feature. The track, it's just another track for the year.
No, man, I don't care about that. They could be on as many guest spots as they want.
Yeah,
they take a lot less work to do.
You could be on the guest spots you want. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
As far as the thing that y'all talking about, as far as the artist releasing too much, streaming is what devalued it, not the artist. So by releasing a lot, it's not the artist. Why is it the artist? It's the streaming services that devalued it, man.
If Fleet Lord dropped 7 albums and I had to go pick up 7 CDs, it'd probably be less likely I would listen to it now
But
that
exactly, it's not worth the same. He would make way more money off you buying one. So you release so people keep listening to your stuff, so it keep coming up in your algorithm and stuff. It's worth it for him to
so
release.
I don't think that's why
I get the
they're
marketing
doing it, though.
strategy. No, I do think that's why. I do think that's why they do it. I mean, I
That's
do
why
think
many
that's part
artists
of the
do it.
marketing strategy. Yes, to flood the market, people, and then people will hear your music. There's more chances for people to hear your music if you drop more music. I get that.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't.
I think it's
I'm not
I think it's a
arguing
valid
about the
strategy in the
financial
current time.
the financial benefits of it. I'm not against that part. I'm just saying for me, when I'm a fan, all right, I'm not even well, so there's a difference. If I was a fan, then maybe I would love it, I'd appreciate it. But I'm like just a hip hop fan who knows of Flea Lord. When I go to Flea Lord and I'm like, okay, let me hear some of his stuff, I'm not about to listen to 20 albums. I'm just not.
Yeah. Here's my thing. If we're going to talk about per year or for an artist, I roughly like an artist to put out 10 good tracks per year.
All right, you can't bang on the desk every time.
I don't care. I don't care. My bad, bro. My bad.
No, you
I
good.
don't. I don't care. I don't care about like a full album because I think a lot of artists are failing at putting a cohesive album together these days.
But that's my point, though. That's my point.
That's why I don't care so much about.
I
the album.
value putting together a cohesive album. I think that is something that is undervalued today. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I agree.
You focus on putting together good cohesive albums. Now, I'm not saying this. I like this Flea Lord album, so I do think it's a good album. So I don't want that to be misconstrued. But
Yeah.
my point is, with a lot of people, they drop an album, and yes, it might have like 2-3 tracks. I gotta listen to your album for an hour to go grab 2 or 3 tracks off of it. I'd rather you just held those other 20 tracks to yourself, keep them to yourself.
And most of these releases are cohesive though. Like, what do you got to tell me who you talking about and whose albums ain't cohesive?
I'm not saying
90% of artists today nowadays.
No, I disagree, man.
Niggas just trying to make songs for the playlist.
I disagree with that, man. I think when Currency releases and he releases
I love
often,
Currency.
he'll normally work with like one particular producer for that album. I think it's pretty cohesive.
I love Currency.
I think it's the
Currency
same
is
thing
one of the
for-
best
Most
at it.
people don't do that.
Yeah.
Most people don't work with one producer and lock in for an album. That's not normal.
Who's
Well, I
the
think
people
that's
that you say
pretty
are
normal
releasing a lot?
nowadays.
That's
pretty normal.
not releasing the Focus Project. Tell me who they is.
I think everybody. That's why I don't think classic albums are being made that much anymore.
Well, I just gave you an example of
if
somebody.
at all.
Okay,
I know, but
If
go ahead.
for me, I would say just looking at a few that came out this year because obviously a lot of music. I don't think Sky Zoo's The Mind of the Same was cohesive. I don't think.
Oh, I love. No, wait. What? That's a concept album with that's all about.
no, yeah,
And it's
any
with
concept
one
album is
producer or one
cohesive
or
to
just.
me.
I don't
I
understand.
did. Don't get me wrong. I like the tracks on it. I did not. I mean, I found myself like maybe 3 track tens. I'm like, I'll skip this one, and then I was like, all right, I'll come back to it later. And then I came back and I played out the album. But like, I don't think, like I said, Logic. I don't think Black. I'm not talking about Black Thought
think
Plus.
the Logic was great. I mean, we could do this with. I don't want to go through and just name names all day. My point is just that if we go back to those like 80s albums, we've been reviewing those 80s albums. You listen to Run DMC or something like that. It's like 10 tracks of dope stuff. All right, or even if some of it sounds maybe less dated or something like that, I enjoyed listening to the whole album. I enjoyed listening to all of Radio. Like I enjoyed, I go
that's
back
not
to
the same, man. It took them way longer to make an album.
Well, they were still dropping every year. They're dropping every year.
Okay, but it took them a lot longer to make an album.
Okay,
That's
it might
why
take
it was-
but that's my point. But it took longer, but it was concerted, directed effort into making the best music they could for the
Because
best
they
10
didn't have
tracks
no
they
money.
could.
Because they couldn't make it at their house.
Exactly. So my point is, now it's too easy to make. You could do 100 tracks, and not all 100 tracks are tracks that I want to hear. That's all I'm saying.
But even them 20 tracks don't be good. 15 of them tracks might be good. 10 of them tracks might
That's
be
why.
good.
I was so excited for the Kanye thing when he was doing the 7. I love short, concise albums. That's the best to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the best idea. I hate long albums. I do not want to sit there for an hour and a half listening.
Depends on
I'm
the artist.
barely an hour. If I'm listening to you for an hour, this album got to be great.
I don't care how long it is if the album is great. I mean, that doesn't matter to me. So if you make 35 great tracks, I'm gonna be like, wow, amazing, 35 great tracks.
No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
maybe Bryson and I just got ADHD or something. I don't know. It's hard. It's
I'm
hard.
not
I'm
listening
to it
for
all
an
at
hour
once,
and a
bro.
half.
If I turn it off, I ain't get through half of
But
it,
like-
and I come back in an hour and turn it back on again, and you still got more fire tracks. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
shit, this is crazy. I mean, but
Nah,
that don't happen.
Like with the Chris Brown album, like this dude put out like 50 songs, then he did a deluxe version of the album. Like,
And that another
I don't
thing.
need all that music from you, so I'm really only going through and picking the best of the best songs. That's it.
But you listen to them all one time, just so you knew.
No, probably not. Maybe
And
That's
that's
just
part
streaming,
of,
though.
but see, that's part of the
That's
streaming.
the juice
That's
of
part of the
streaming.
stream. Exactly. That's to juice the stream.
But
is
if he
lame.
dropped 10 every 3 months, it would have been the same thing.
Oh, that's fine. I guess.
And then I would still be tired of them. Like,
Yeah.
all right, nigga,
Nah,
you
you
can
wouldn't
keep
have
this
been
to
tired of
yourself.
No, I'm
it.
sorry.
I
I'm
don't,
gonna say
I
this.
don't
If
like
you like
Chris Brown. So.
I don't.
Hey, I'll be in the shower there, so I'll be like, oh,
Look, I mean, listen. Maybe it's just maybe I'm more picky with music than. Or
But you're
something.
not.
I am.
You still
picky.
listening to it. I don't understand
well,
what you mean when you say you're too picky for it.
Well, okay. So again, a lot of albums we review. We listen to everything. We review everything. That don't mean I'm re-listening to everything. There's a lot of the stuff that we put mid. We said we're mid. Okay, like I'm not re-listening to it if I said it was mid. All right.
Because exactly. But if it was good, then you would re-listen to it.
Okay, but I'm saying there might be less mid if people spend more time on their music and then less time just making a ton of it.
We went through every one of Jay-Z albums. I must have said half them albums was mid.
We were giving them 6s and 7s. We wasn't saying they were 5s. We were giving. Who
did we say was a 5 this year? Who did we say was a 5 this year? Besides Coda the Friend.
We said a lot of things with 5s, bro. Come on, man. We don't have to.
I don't remember none of them because they were trash. I never listened to those. But the good ones, I listened to a lot.
Okay, all right. So that's all I was just saying. All I'm saying, I only thought of this because when I clicked on this dude's name, and I've heard Flea Lord, like Bryce said, I listened to that Pray for the Evil 3 last year. I listened to, I hear him on different tracks with Conway and stuff like that. I've heard him, multiple times before, right? But I've never been like a super fan of him. But when I clicked on his music, because I wanted to know more about him. After hearing this album, I wanted to know more about him. I wanted to click on his title profile, wanted to see his biography. He didn't have one on here, but I wanted to figure out more about him, right, before we talked about it. So I click on his music, and then I'm scrolling, albums. The first album is in 2017, but there's like 20 of them. Like, so for 5 years,
You could have just went to Wikipedia, man. You could have just went to Wikipedia.
There is no Wikipedia page.
Man.
There's no Wikipedia page. Really? He's got no wiki. He's got no wiki. He's got no. I literally, dog. I googled who is Flea Lord. I'm dead serious. The only thing I heard could find about him is that he knew Prodigy. He was Prodigy's protege. That's it. That's all I could get off. I didn't get nothing about this dude. I don't know. That's it.
I got his record labels came up.
Yes.
His Twitter, his Spotify, Bandcamp. And I see some kind of blog or something. But all right, man, let's get to this man's album, man.
So no, but you proving my point right there.
No, I mean I don't see it on
him. So okay,
I see his real name and stuff here on Genius.
Mm-hmm.
All that type of stuff. But yeah, I don't see a Wikipedia page for him.
So that's my point. That was my only point. I click on this thing. I wanted
to tap in. Start clicking the albums.
I'm sorry. I'm not listening to if his life story is on one of these albums, I'm just not gonna find it.
So your complaint is for new fans, how do they get into it?
Right.
I don't care about
exactly.